And we are live, live, live. We are live. Hey guys, welcome to it. Thank you so much for coming through to join this conversation. Basically, we are going to be talking, I'm going to be sharing my vaccine journey. And so many people have been asking me so many questions with regards to me getting vaccinated, because I was quite public about it, but also the fact that I am a mom, I am breastfeeding. So many people had so many questions. So I was like, hey, let me talk about my journey, but also because I like to unpack things. Let me see if we can chat to some experts, because the reality is I didn't come through all of a sudden being like, yay, I'm so in, let me get the jab, let me vaccinate. No, guys, like, let me be real. That was not my reality at all. So I'll start at the beginning. The moment vaccines were announced, I was like, there is no way I am getting that jab. I don't know what's in it. I'm too afraid. I don't want to die. I don't want to X, Y, and Z. But as I'm talking to you right now, I have completed both of my Pfizer vaccines. The first jab that I did, that I had posted, everybody was like, what? But you're breastfeeding. What's happening? And everybody was asking for advice. So now I'm like, okay, cool. Today we're going to share my journey. I've asked Solidarity Fund, because they have such a big drive that's happening at the moment, to say, hey, provide us with the experts, seeing as we're trying to get more people vaccinated. Let's have these conversations. Let's be open and honest about it, and not necessarily try to vilify people that are in a position where they don't want to get vaccinated or they're reluctant with getting vaccinated. So that's why we're having this conversation. So this part is me speaking about my journey in particular and how I got to a point where I decided I'm going to get the jab. So let me start by saying I've traveled abroad and within our continent, which I guess counts as abroad. I was just thinking overseas, and it's not over the seas, but you guys know what I mean. And before that, I had to get vaccinated, and not once did I question, what is in this yellow fever jab? Da, 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 da. All I know is I went to the travel clinic and I got all the things that I needed to go through and get vaccinated. My first fear with regards to vaccinations was it felt like this jab was just made in 2 minutes and suddenly there was a jab available. That was like my first fear, is how can we trust what's in it? It feels like it's still trial and error. Something might happen and then you hear a story of a person dying and then you're like, I can't do this. The second conversation that I had in my head was, we all know that vaccinations, even just the basic flu vaccine, you can get sick after taking a flu vaccine. I have asthma, which is an autoimmune illness. My immune system is naturally weakened. Please don't mind, that's my child upstairs. My immune system is already a little bit compromised. So when it comes to my fears around COVID, they are beyond real. I'm a mom. I'm not trying to get sick. I'm not trying to die. I'm not trying to have my child not have a mom. Also, I, interact with my parents, with my aunts, with my uncles. I interact with people in my family who I don't want to expose them. So when it came time to it, I kind of did that lag of waiting to see what's going to happen with other people taking the vaccine, because I was scared. I was scared that we don't know what it is. But also it didn't help that at the time, there's so many scandalous stories about what was happening with our government with regards to the vaccine. First, the batch was arriving, then it was expiring, and then it was like, and there's corruption. Now you're so afraid you don't know what it is that you're getting. These things are real. So before I continue, let me let you guys know, I see a couple of you are popping stuff up. Be real with me. What are some of the fears that you guys have had around vaccines? Have you vaccinated? Have you taken a jab? If you have, what was that experience like? Have you taken a second jab? What is that experience like? If you haven't jabbed, why aren't you jabbing? Do you feel like you still want to wait a little bit for a trial period? Do you feel like you want to be incentivized? Do you feel like incentives are a complete waste of time? I know the last one that I heard about was where they were like, oh, Bafana's playing. You can watch if you've been vaccinated, something along those lines. And I was like, I don't know if that's a great incentive, because I don't even know anyone that wants to go watch Bafana. Like me personally, I don't know anyone that wants to go watch Bafana. So what are the incentives that are going to work for you? So for me, my incentives that eventually got me to go is like, actually, Edache says first time in life that I was your face. I don't know what you mean. I think maybe you mean seeing my face, maybe like without makeup. I don't know, but I'm always showing myself without makeup. This is just like me at home. For me, the incentive was that COVID deaths and sicknesses were just getting too close to home. So it's very different reading something that's a statistic of, oh, every day the Minister of Health account or the Department of Health account is updating us, telling us how many people have died, and it's just numbers, which you can be quite detached from, versus actually knowing somebody who is unwell and then just dies. Dr. Cindy being one of them, Les the chef being one of them, people in my family where like out of nowhere, a person just dies. I've got asthma. When I say paranoid about getting sick, I mean paranoid. And mind you, when I sit down and do my interviews, I don't have a mask on, so I'm quite exposed. There's actually a day in studio that I had a guest that was not well that day. I don't know if it was a throat irritation or what. She coughed like 2-3 times. Mind you, we're sitting socially distanced, but we don't have masks on. And she coughed. I was so panicked. COVID tests were done that day, just to be sure. So that's how nervous I am. Now, the other thing with the vaccination that made me feel a little more settled is that it was realistic. The vaccination doesn't say you are not going to get COVID. It's just that if you get COVID, it's going to cushion the blow that you might get under normal circumstances. So someone like me who has asthma, I'm the type of person that if somebody has flu and I get their flu, it suddenly is bronchitis, and then it might even develop to pneumonia with fever. That's like how sensitive my immune system is. So what made me feel a little bit settled is the fact that vaccinations, we're not saying this is preventing COVID, it just would cushion the blow. So I was like, okay, cool. My other fear was getting the vaccine, knowing that I might get sick. I've taken the flu shot before and I've gotten sick after taking a flu shot. So when I had decided, okay, I'm going to do this because actually it's the responsible thing to do for me, for my family, for my loved one, for my crew, for my team at my show, I spaced it out in a way that I'm not going to be shooting within the next 2 days. Went ahead and do it. I see Moss Sima says, I've taken my first jab, about to get my second one soon. Tell me, Moss, did you get sick? Did you get any side effects? What happened to you? Langa says, I think it's important, and I like how you put it out there without making people who haven't vaccinated being selfish as if they're spreading COVID-19. I get it. I'm not even going to front like I wasn't scared. I was scared. To be honest, I was still scared even while getting the jab. It's not that I took the jab while I didn't get there and I was like, okay, I'm not scared now. I'm cool. I was nervous the whole time. I said a little bit of a prayer while the nurse was, getting the needle in there. I was saying a prayer, not just that the vaccine does what it's supposed to do, but also let me not be that 1 in a million that now gets super sick and then dies. And then and I was quite open about it. So I'm not going to front and just act like I wasn't scared. I was scared. The next person, Kucho, says, haven't vaccinated because I'm a new mom and really don't want to die or get even more sick. I am epileptic and don't know how that will affect me. Listen, that is a real concern. So for me personally, as a new mom, my baba is 5 months. We're breastfeeding. I spoke to my doctor to say, listen, is it safe for me to go get the jab? And not just my doctor, my baby's doctor. Is it safe for me to get the jab? And they both said, go get the jab. I am not a medical doctor. I'm not a medical professional. All I'm speaking from is my own personal experience. And I think for your own peace of mind, go and speak to the people who are dealing with you. Me encouraging is to say, the people that are excluded from getting vaccines was in certain age groups. So I haven't taken my baby to get a vaccine. He's 5 months old. But for myself, I was like, okay, cool. Can I cushion the blow? Because if, God forbid, I get COVID, you can even hear I'm wheezing a little bit with my asthma, I will not survive. I'll be on a ventilator, and then what? I will literally not survive. I will not make it. So that's what got it for me. But I'm not going to lie and say I wasn't scared. I had to speak to my doctors, and I had to get that encouragement to say, listen, you're fine. Bosch says, hi, Lebo. I didn't have doubts the first time they opened for my age group. I registered first jab, sharp, the second one I took on the 3rd of October. I went through hell. I'm still not well. Oh, but hope I will recover. I'm so sorry, Bosch. I hope that it's not hectic. My mom got super ill. That was the other thing that made me nervous, is my mom got her jab and she got sick. Like, she got sick. But I'm so encouraged that both my parents are fully vaccinated. They are in their late 60s, and I just have a certain comfort in knowing, should anything happen, both of them having pre-existing conditions, that they are cushioned. They are cushioned from that blow. Mind you, let me be real with you. I think about my family, like I have family in the rural areas, and it's simply, I get it. Like, also there's a certain level of awareness that is not out there, and that requires those of us that are able to have these conversations openly to have them. Fumu Manyuma says, the worst experience ever. I went for my first jab a month ago and got so sick for 2 weeks. Haven't gone for the second dose. I'm so scared of side effects. Also a mom of a 6-month-old. I'm sorry to hear that. My question would also be, because when my mom got sick, mind you, she got sick and she didn't get tested, but we are 99% convinced that she already had COVID. Because, she started losing her sense of smell and her sense of taste, and up until now, which is like 3-4 months later, she still hasn't got it back completely. So I think that she had COVID either already, and at the timing of the jab, she started experiencing all the symptoms. So, Fumu, I would advise, find out from your doctor, if you do one jab and you don't take the second one, what does that mean? At the same time, I get it. I would be terrified to have to go again, especially if you're a mom of a 6-month-old man. Babies are very, very demanding, and you're not feeling well. So I would advise, have a conversation with your doc. I think, and I could be wrong, from the people that I've spoken to, they've said that your second one, you shouldn't feel as bad as the first one. So for me, my first jab, okay, Ntabi Singh says, thanks for the live. I think I needed it because I'm still scared to take a jab. Girl, let me just be clear. I was scared, but I did it anyways. It's like, it's not that I was without fear. I was still afraid, but I still went and did it. So Simon says, lots of love, Lebo. You inspire us live from Harare. Thank you so much, Simon. Imelda says, I'm still scared. You can still be scared and still go and do it. There are people, actually, let me be real with you. I have an uncle. The only reason he didn't want to go take the jab was because he's afraid of needles. Like, that's his reason. And that's a legit reason for somebody who is afraid of needles. This person was like, I'm not going. And because of that, he opted for the Johnson & Johnson. This after my brother had a conversation with him, because my brother got COVID and he was sick with a small baby. Him, the wife, the baby, the nanny, they all got sick. And he was like, listen, sometimes saying I'm not going to take the jab, you are in a privileged enough position to say that because you might not have been touched by COVID. But maybe you have been touched by COVID, but you're still more afraid of a jab because a jab represents death, whereas COVID just represents being sick. I personally am more afraid of dying of COVID than I am of taking a jab that I can easily say I don't know what's in it. But I also don't know what's in the yellow fever jab. I don't know what's in the flu jab. Do you know what's in a Panado? Like, be real. Do you know what's in the Panado? Yes, they've said it's paracetamol. But do you know what's in a Panado? But we drink it anyways. So it reaches a point where you also got to say for yourself, hey, how much am I supposed to know? Like, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a researcher that's going to know everything. But I reached a point where I was like, okay, cool. I'm doing this thing because I want to protect myself and my family. Kiaikehile says, I got my first jab and the side effects were severe. I'm not going for my second jab. It was a terrible experience for me. Askis, I feel you there. I feel you. I'll tell you guys about my jab once I've gone through everybody's messages here. Please go for the second jab, because you've already gone through the process of doing the first jab. Then get the second one over and done with. And I don't think it can be worse than what you've already experienced. Again, speak to your doctor. And one thing that I did before I went for my jab is lots of hydrating and a painkiller for in case the pain came through, which it did for me. But also my home has been fully equipped with flu meds. But, and this is a big but, because I'm still breastfeeding, I can't actually take those over-the-counter flu meds like everybody else. And prior to that, I couldn't take certain things because I was pregnant. So I am on hectic vitamins at the moment, and my immune system is responding accordingly. So I've been okay. My dealer says I got my first jab and experienced all side effects. They lasted for 2 days. Second jab is this month on the 25th. Yes, go through with it. And sometimes the side effects are severe, but for 1 day, severe, but for 2 days. If it's for a long period, I would seriously say consider that you might have actually gotten COVID, and not from the jab, but just gotten COVID prior to that. Trying to go through all your messages. I was also scared, but I had to keep in mind why I did it. And that's exactly for me. I was scared and I had to keep in mind why I did it. I went to the Clicks by my place. So convenient. I called and it was just comfortable being able to, instead of being at a vaccine center, to be able to be sitting in a pharmacy. That worked out for me. And mind you, in the queue, there were so many people that were scared. Not to say it was the men, but the men were very scared of the needle. So many people in the queue that were afraid, am I going to turn into a monster? Am I going to turn into an alien? Am I going to die? And luckily, there was a guy there who was talking to everybody. No, you'll be fine. It's not bad. And then when a person comes out, they're like, oh, it's not bad. We're all expecting screaming and all these things. It was quite simple and easy. I can't measure with myself because I'm comfortable with needles, not because I want to be, but because when I was growing up, I was quite a sickly child. So I had to just get comfortable with needles and drips. And I don't know if you guys can see the scars. So if you look closely, there's a lot of drip scars there. So I'm comfortable with needles. I was more worried about getting sick and that kind of thing. Michelle says, which vaccine did you get? So I got Pfizer. So I did first jab, second jab was done a few weeks ago. I got Pfizer, and it's because from, everybody I'd spoken to, the advice was do Pfizer. Okay, more of your messages coming through. I'm doing my utmost best. Okay, Michelle again asking. Nash says, I'm also asthmatic. That's what made me go. I'm happy I've done both jabs now. I can say there's something in the air. I'm no longer scared. And whenever I go out, I'm no longer coming back feeling sick anymore. Yo, that's psychological, guys. Sometimes it would happen when you go to the grocery store. And there's this psychological thing that makes you think you're sick. Your throat is scratchy and it's every time I've thought I've had COVID, you have that panic and you're like, am I actually sick or am I imagining I'm sick? Is it placebo? Then you're like, I know that feeling. So I haven't, and let me make clear, since I've had the vaccine, I haven't relaxed how careful I need to be. Also, because we are aware that the virus can mutate, but also we're trying to protect those around us that might not be vaccinated and those that are vaccinated. So I haven't gotten less safe. So if you're asking, then why get the vaccine anyways? It's to cushion the blow should I get the virus, to cushion the blow. Okay, let's see. Ike says, so true. Sikoliwe says, I'm waiting for my next jab in November. Yes, go through with it. Go through with it, man. Chauke Sasi says, now I want to be 100% well before I go. No son ton ton. It actually doesn't matter. Like, if you're speaking COVID related, yes, you can't go get a jab. I think you have to wait a certain period. But in terms of how well you need to be to not, you can't predict that. That you can't predict. Let me be real with you. So for my own jab story, first jab I went, they asked me to wait for 15 minutes often. I think that's just a standard protocol to see if you're going to react. Got the jab. 15 minutes later, I was like, oh, I'm cool. I'm fine. Yeah, I got this. And then an hour later, I was like, my arm's a little bit sore. Drank lots of water that day. In the evening, arm was sore. The next day, arm was much more sore. So I had a sore arm for about 2.5 days. And I was paranoid about getting sick. So I did get some extra vitamin B co, extra vitamin C. Probably took way too much, way more than I needed to, which you end up peeing out. But I did it because I didn't want to get sick, and I was fine. Second jab, my arm was sore for a day, and I was fine. So that was, but I know that's not the reality for everybody. I have friends who've gotten sick after. Gab says, the problem is that we hear that some people lost their lives after taking the jab. That's why some of us are hesitant. It's real what you're experiencing, but I think for your own peace of mind, you have to ask yourself, how many lives has COVID taken versus the lives that the jab has taken? And sometimes you're only going to remember one story of, oh, somebody died after they took a vaccine. Let's assume that it is the vaccine that killed them versus the lives that have been lost over COVID. Is that a risk you are willing to take? Because you saying I'm not going to do anything is also deciding to not protect yourself. You're just relying on hope. At least with a jab, I have a chance. I'm giving myself a chance to cushion the blow. But the risk is so minuscule compared to the risk of dying of COVID. Mind you, if you need a ventilator, if you need a bed, hospitals are struggling. And we've heard of so many people that have died with COVID complications. Betty says, even scientists are not sure of what they're doing. We're all just trying to survive out here. Betty, like I said earlier, I don't know what's in a Panado, but I drink it. I don't know what's in a Myprodol, but when I have period pains, I drink it. Now, you have to ask yourself, why do you have trust in Panado, but not in the vaccine? If we're relying on the same scientists, mind you, we also are of the view that this vaccine has just been worked on now. They've been working on this for years. We're only knowing about it now because it affects us now. So it does feel like, oh, why all of a sudden is there a vaccine? And then, now we make jokes about, oh, the government is trying to put chips in you. Like, the government doesn't care that you're going to Taven and Onwadi Savannah. Like, you know what I mean? So I think we have to, for me, I'm weighing it up on a probabilities. There's nothing. When I say nothing, I'm still waiting for someone to say to me, this is what I need to see to be sure that the vaccine is safe. What would you like to see? Would you like a scientist to take you into a lab to show you things? Because even the things they're going to show you to say, this is what this vaccine does. How are you going to know they're telling you the truth? Because that's their specialty. When a doctor writes you a prescription, what do you need to assure you that it's safe to take? Mind you, everything has side effects. Even that Panado that we rely on. Basic paracetamol has side effects. Every time you go to the pharmacy, there's new pills that you're like, oh, I need something for period pain. I need something for bloating, for whatever. You don't question that thing. You don't even necessarily read all the side effects in the pamphlet on the inside. So you have to ask yourself, what reassurance are you hoping to get to say it's safe? So basically, I get you. We are all trying to survive out here. I'm saying, which risk are you willing to take? Are you willing to fight against a vaccine that so many people have taken already around the world, where you can see things are opening up, or take a risk against a virus that has killed so many people and is continually mutating and evolving? Kudzo says doctor's advice would really help. Yes, and that's what I'm going to be doing. We'll be speaking to different experts from next week, and I'll let you know prior what we're going to focus on so that we can just have an opportunity to have an open conversation without it being judgmental or mean-spirited. Like, I also want to be real and not say, hey, like, yes, I was like, ooh, finally it's done. Like, ooh, I'm still here, guys, you know. But I also want to just be like, I was scared, but I did it anyways. Bethy, got a Pfizer. There's really nothing to it, Shem. We just like circling. Thank you to all the waves. I would love to respond to everybody. Giselle says, first jab, severe side effects is sometimes people who are positive and don't know or assume they had flu and did not confirm through testing. Exactly what I was trying to say. So we suspect that my mom had COVID prior to her jab. And I think she's one of those situations. She didn't go and get tested because at that point, it's like she had everything she needed around her, needed to isolate and all those things. Adrian, I got both jabs. I'm all good. Whoop, whoop. And Tabi saying, do we choose which jab do we get, or it depends which one is available at that moment? To be honest, I don't know if there are specific sites where you say, I want this or this. I don't know, to be honest. I'll have to find out for you. But I think like when I went to Clicks, I called first and I said, can I make an appointment? And it was Pfizer, and you go, you know, they give you a card. Oh gosh, the most actually irritating thing that I do, and I don't just do it with my vaccine cards. Every single time we go with baby to clinic or doctor's appointment, I always forget the vaccine card, even though I got given a beautiful leather pouch for it. I even forgot my card. I had to go queue, do the paperwork, rush back home, get the card and go back. But where I was, it was all Pfizer. I think it depends on availability. In Tabi saying, I'll have to find out for you. Queen ANH. I had my jab as well, but had no side effects. Took a painkiller after both jabs. There you go. And it's different with everybody. Thor SA says, I want to go get the jab, but I'm so busy. I cannot seem to find time. I keep on postponing. You have to make time. You're not going to find time. You have to make time. Make time. Make time. That's all I'll say. Make time. Giselle says, that is why they say if illness lasts more than 3 days, go seek medical attention. And I know a couple of people where it was confirmed they were indeed positive, hence illness post-jab. So that's the other thing, yeah. The first jab was horrific, firstly, because I'm terrified of needles. I legit cried. At the vaccination center. Then the side effects got sour. You ask easy, man. Listen, needles are not fun. They're not meant to be. But if you think about it, the pain of the fear of the needle is worse than the actual needle itself, because then it's over and done with. Swagger Muffin, please let me in. Let you in where? Okay, maybe I'll talk to a person. Just get vaccinated and wear your mask. It's really not a big deal, says Bethy. I agree. Waiting for my second jab next week. Fab Lady Lyra, whoop, whoop. Welcome to the club. Michelle says, I had a severe headache after the first vaccine. The other thing, guys. The other thing is my menstrual cycle went after the vaccine. So, yeah, that's the other thing. Did any of you ladies experience that? I wonder. Let's see. People also have other comorbidities, and when the death is reported, no one mentions other issues. All vaccines have an efficacy rate. So yes, we'll hear of the people who fall into the 2% and in relation to the deaths. Bethy, got my Pfizer in America and I had the same side effects as you, so no big deal. I'm going for my first jab tomorrow. This isn't Tabi saying Mtia. Then I'll be fully Pfizer-ified. Welcome to the club. Fully vaxxed. Pop says, I also have the same question as to why was it able to be developed over 6 months, but the HIV one has not developed as of yet? So we're going to be speaking to experts, but I can tell you what I know so far. Coronavirus, it's actually this virus that's been mutating has been around for a long time. So it's not a 6-month thing. It's been a long time, and it's not the same as HIV. We can't compare because it's not the same thing. And it does feel like, how come it was developed so quickly. Keep in mind, we're not keeping tabs on what scientists are working on because they don't affect our day-to-day life, right? So I even recall reporting on the coronavirus when it was in Wuhan because I was reading the news at the time. I didn't care. I was reading the news. It was something that's in China. It was far away. It had nothing to do with us. When it became real was us like, oh, there's a patient 0 in SA, confirmed. And even then it was still like, nah, not going to affect us, right? So you're not going to know about the research anybody's doing. How will you know if it doesn't affect your day-to-day life? Scientists are continuously working, researching, developing for many things. HIV is a big one. So yes, it's going to feel like, oh, why isn't there a vaccine? Why isn't there a cure? There's some things that are not going to happen right now. And there are other things that have been worked on, that there have been medical breakthroughs that we don't know of. So because the coronavirus only became real to us, and I mean real, when Cyril was like, we're locking down the country now. Actually, we'll stay at home. We're like, oh, now this is real. Now when they say there's a vaccine, you feel like, how you guys have only just been working on it. They've been working on this for a long time. We just were not aware and we didn't care. But legit concern. Okay. Let's see. Smagger 2. My friend went to a place around Santon. They asked her which one she prefers. So I think it depends on the place. Thank you so much for helping to answer that. Guys, there's so many vaccine sites. You don't have to go to a pharmacy. I'm just sharing. I chose to just sit in a chair in a pharmacy as opposed to an open vaccine center where some people were queuing, and for me it was quite quick. Michelle says, Lewo, now you're vaccinated, do you feel comfortable traveling, i.e. airplane, being out and about more? Yes, I do. Yes, I do, because I know if I contract the virus, the side effects, the symptoms, I'll be cushioned from that blow. So I do feel more comfortable, but let me be clear, I'm not comfortable as in I'm not being safe. It would be great if there's a vac station at selected voting stations. Tell the IEC, babes. I think that's quite a smart idea you have there. Tell the IEC that at voting stations, they should be able to get jabbed. Ayla BBW, you're so beautiful. Thank you very much. Thank you. Your source, Tuto. Please remind me what you're referring to when it comes to source. Kaya Gaga says, yes, I can't wait to get my second jab. Friend, people should get vaxxed. We need to get back to our normal lives. Please, guys, I'm a mom to what they call a pandemic baby. We have not been able to do normal things that moms do with their babas. I want my baby to be able to socialize and go out there. Can we go back to our new normal now? Old new normal, if you get what I'm saying. I want things to start opening up where we feel a bit better. We're not putting other people at risk. We're not putting ourselves at risk. Cindy says that's so true. We honestly didn't see it coming. We didn't see it coming, and it's been in the works for so long. We didn't see it coming. And I shouldn't be laughing, but I literally remember reading the news. I think I was asking Mel Bala how you pronounce the name of the virus correctly, reading it, and it was just so far. And when the president was like, locked down, it was real. Now suddenly we're like, but they were not researching, no, they've been working at it. We just don't care. Science is not sexy. Pilile otsegang. Okay, should I take a request for some live people? Let's see. Okay, we've got good. Ask me anything you want to ask me about my vaccine journey, my symptoms. I literally came home and fed my baby. Noma says life has totally changed. I also want to go back to the days without COVID. We can only dream. Roseanne says, how funny we all thought 21 days. Guys, just so you know, we are still in lockdown, ne? I thought I accepted the person. Let's see what's happening. Okay, feel free to ask me anything before we wrap up the chat. But like I said, a couple of experts that are going to be lined up each week. Join in the conversation. Let's have an honest discussion. Your fears are valid, but you can still get vaxxed while you're afraid. Mamelo says, how are the side effects different or similar first and second jab? Oh, sorry, I'm busy kicking my situation. Mine, I just had a sore arm, and the second one was better than the first one. I can't speak for everybody, but my understanding is, and we'll get the experts, that the second jab symptoms will not be shouldn't be as bad as your first one. So those are my thoughts. Okay, I think someone's coming live. Betty says, were you able to breastfeed? Yes, I was. Actually, I posted a picture about breastfeeding week. You can see I've got a bandage on my arm. I had just come from my first jab. Kaya saying we announced it on radio as news, not knowing it was going to hit hard. I remember when we were reading it, you move on. No one was like, "How can't this thing is serious?" Umisa Sanchwandi Askis for pronunciation. How do you feel after taking the vaccination? Protected. I feel protected. I feel protected, and I'm less panicked, but I'm still safe. That's how I feel. Shame, man. Somebody's literally trying. I'm going to try one more time, Good Hope, to come live, and it's just refusing. Accept. I'm so sorry. Okay. Did you also notice menstrual cycle changes after? My menstrual cycle went, and because I'm using an app called Flow, Bale says my flow is lighter. Yes, yes, yes. So mine is just out of whack. My days, menstrual cycle days are weird. I track with my app, and at the moment I'm like, I don't know where we are. I don't know where we're supposed to be. But yes, that's what happened with my menstrual cycle. But my thing is, please speak to your doctor, speak to your GP, speak to, the professionals, get that reassurance that you need. Michelle says, do you socialize with family or friends who are not vaccinated? I wouldn't say socialize. So in terms of what socializing is at the moment, like I had my birthday a month and a few days ago. I had my immediate family at my house, and my family's all vaccinated. I'm not yet at a point where I'm like, oh, I want to socialize with people who aren't vaccinated, because I also want to be realistic with people's realities and their fears. The conversation that we're having on Instagram Live will not be the same conversation that is happening in a rural village where people are just going on what they've heard. No, we've heard that that person died because you know what I'm saying? So I'm not yet at a point where I'm like, I do not engage with, but I definitely am putting pressure on the people around me where I'm like, please, for the sake of peace in our land, can we just, Kaya, I also had an armyana thing, but it's like any injection you take, wherever the bidding went through, you would feel it because it's foreign. It's just a jab, people, let's get it. Bale, I'm worried about my fertility after taking the vaccine. That's a legit worry because of our history and apartheid, government doing funny things, sterilizing people, but also just not knowing what's in it. So my question again to everybody who says they're fearful, what reassurance do you need? What would you need to see for it to say, cool, for you to say it's safe, I'm going ahead? What do you need to see? What do you need to see? And there's been so many pregnancies, and the vaccine's been around for a while. So I don't know if fertility being affected is an actual thing, but I also don't want to invalidate your fear, which is real. Okay, last chance. People that are trying to join, for some reason, I can't, it's not allowing me to accept your requests for live, and I'm very sorry. Which one you label as a person that's saying? I'm not sure what that question is. Askis. So just to wrap up, because I know some people joined only now, I took the Pfizer jab. The fear's real, like real. I was afraid getting the jab. I was afraid for what the jab can do. I was afraid for jab side effects. I was afraid for so many things, but best believe I am more afraid of dying due to COVID and leaving my child without a mother, of exposing my family to COVID, my elderly family, and losing any of them. I'm more afraid of this life being the reality that we live until. That I'm more afraid of. So I firmly believe that we need to get to a point where as many of us as possible have taken a jab. And those of you that are still afraid because you don't know what's in it, what reassurance would you need for you to say, okay, I'm assured it's safe, I will do it? What do you need? Verbalize what you need to see. In the same way that we don't know what's in a panado, right? We don't know what's in a panado, but we drink it. Why? Even though it's got a pamphlet that tells you all the side effects that have to be listed. Even if only 1 or 2 people experience it, they have to list everything. You still take that panado, right? Lebu should be a counselor. Yo, guys, have you seen the work I'm doing on my show? Lee says, I was also afraid, but I'm more afraid of dying and leaving my child. And that's my reality. I'm also afraid of dying and leaving my child. So, in preparation for chatting to the experts, let me know what you guys actually have like questions about. Send me a DM. I'll make sure that we put those away. Beginning of next week, I'll put up a post just to remind you to ask questions, let you know the expert, courtesy of Solidarity Fund. And we can ask those questions. I would like this to be as safe a space as possible where we can have these conversations without the judgment. Yes, many people are pissed off to be like, you're so selfish, just get the jab. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's hear you out as to why it is you are freaked out, because I myself was freaked out, but I went and got the jab anyways. So I'd like to hear from all of you. Let us know. Send through your questions in the DMs. Let's talk to the medical professionals. Let's have real conversations. My journey is not going to be your journey. Again, I'm not a medical practitioner of any kind. I'm not a therapist. All I can speak about is from my own perspective, and to say, if you're choosing not to jab because you're afraid, what reassurance do you need? What is that reassurance? Share what that reassurance is so that you can get that reassurance. Okay, I think we have got through the most. Oh, those of you going for your second jabs, good luck, and welcome to the Fully Vaxxed Club. Those of you that are still considering, what is the reassurance you need? You can still be scared and get the jab. Even those who are so sure get there and they're nervous because an injection hurts. That's what it does. Everything has side effects. So yeah, I wish you all the best of luck. But let's continue the chats. Let's continue with the series, and I look forward to having conversations. Michelle quickly says, I'm a nurse and I was afraid too, but I went and got it when I was ready. Yeah. And that's it. The sooner we get jabbed, the better. The sooner we get jabbed, the better. The sooner we get jabbed, the better. Let's be fully vaxxed, guys. Our country, like, we are so much better than where we are right now. And we cannot let any leaders that might be failing us, we cannot allow anything that is not working in our favor to now hold us back in this department that we are in control of. We are the ones who get to decide, hey, we're going to do this together for ourselves, for our future, for our children's future. So yeah, thank you so much for joining this live. Thank you so much for having this conversation. And yeah, we will definitely have a conversation with an expert and we can get to ask all those questions. Don't forget to DM me and we can take it from there. Thank you guys. Bye.